Welcome to Nice Ashes. I'm Mike.
And I'm Nate. And we've got a couple of guests with us here from the Midwest Shenanigans podcast, or as one of their husbands calls it, the Squawking Ladies podcast.
No, it's the two hens squawking at each other. Get it right.
Okay, that's my bad.
I thought it was the Squawking Birds.
We've got Melissa and Nicole here.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Melissa.
I'm Nicole.
And what are we smoking, Mike?
We are smoking a Macanudo Hyde Park. And it's a, come on now. Robusto size. It's a Robusto size. And full disclosure, I've smoked this cigar, but in a Rothschild size.
And sometimes size makes all the difference.
It can.
All right. So we've got two. What would you say? Are you newbies? You've never smoked a cigar before? You have maybe smoked something?
Absolutely. I've never smoked a cigar before. So there's going to be a lot of hacking, I think.
Swisher Sweets? Does that count?
It counts, I guess. We might even do some of those on the show, right, Mike?
Yeah, we can. I mean, I actually have a collection of Swisher Sweets because my Sarah
because why
enjoys them. Yeah, because why wouldn't I?
All right, so I'm going to kind of walk them through the cigar. Do you want to talk to them quickly about the V-cut and the straight cut? I brought both out.
So which one is which?
The straight cut is the one that looks like a guillotine, and the V cut is obviously a V.
The cutters.
Yeah, so
okay.
The straight cut is a more traditional way to do it. The V cut, a lot of people, like myself, think that a V cut causes less tobacco to come out the end of the cigar when you're smoking it.
Why did you cut that end?
Because that's the end we smoke out of. That's the cap on the end. So you want to cut. Yeah.
We do not.
I'm not smart enough to figure out this.
It's
cigar
all good.
cutter. I might cut my fingers off, actually. Oh, okay.
Well, you have 9 more.
Here, I'm just going to hand this to you because I would prefer 10 fingers. That's not what I meant.
Both fists, please.
I can assure you both it is not as complicated as a Lumacraft from 1979.
Apparently, I got my facts wrong, so you might want to fact check that with my husband. He was shaking his head during the whole episode, going, "The only thing you got right was the fucking motor."
What
It was a Mercury?
Oh, yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't know.
It doesn't matter. It was a rusty rowboat thing.
Yeah.
Older than us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now Melissa peeled her label off.
Was I supposed to?
But that's you don't have to put it back on.
put it
It's
back
okay.
on.
It's personal
it's
preference.
there.
Usually
It's back on.
we
It's
wait
like panties.
until
You pick them up off the floor, put it back on.
perfect. Usually we wait until the heat kind of loosens up the glue, and then it'll slide off a lot easier. But if it slides off on its own,
slid
that's
right
okay.
off on its own.
That's okay.
Oh, mine is sliding too.
Faulty condom.
All right. We're going to take a short break. We've got 2 women sliding wrappers on cigars. I'll be with you back in a few minutes
It
here.
fascinates us.
It is interesting.
Okay. So, and then what we do is we typically, what do you call it, Mike? Preheating the boot or something?
Yeah, you just burn the boot. So you take your lighter and you light the end of the cigar and you circle it and you get it to where it's hot. And then you put it to your mouth and you suck in and you get it all the way to lit all the way around.
Oh, we're not supposed to inhale or
I
something,
feel
right?
like your husband could
Yeah,
take
you hold
some-
the smoke in your cheeks, kind of, in your mouth.
Nicole.
It's about
I
the
think your
flavor.
husband could take some tips from this.
And then put it up to your mouth and inhale, not the lid end, yeah.
But don't
Not inhale, but
yeah,
puff it,
just
puff
like,
it, just go puff, puff, puff.
Suck it.
Yeah, because you want to make sure it gets lit. It's all good. We've
Can't
got
even
one that's
get
a
my
little less
cigar lit
excited
right.
to smoke cigars, but we're glad she's here, a good sport. We told her that whatever she smokes is fine. Now puff, puff, puff. Well, it's waiting.
Nate and I deliberated for at least 2 days about what we were going to smoke with you two.
Yours is not
So,
Do you want fire this close to your face?
Puff, puff, puff.
Oh!
Okay. just in the mouth cheek cavity
good
region
Lord,
area.
This is terrible. I don't think it's lit.
It's probably not. And that is okay. Yeah, you're not lit in the middle. All right, the first few puffs are always like, what is it, Mike? The first half inch we've said is usually
Are you
pretty
okay,
rough.
Nicole? You look like you're gonna puke.
Sometimes it's a little acrid or acetone flavored, seems like, especially with these lighter cigars.
Yeah. But I think this one, hopefully,
God.
and mine's not tasting the greatest right now either.
This tastes like my youth.
Tastes like youth.
Oh.
Like all our bad decisions all rolled into one.
Yes.
Does it taste like acetone? Like how acetone smells?
No, it tastes like smoking cigarettes behind the barn and throwing up.
Well, remember, just in the mouth. And
But
use the beer.
I don't know how to suck into my mouth without swallowing, you know? Like, how do you... Never mind.
So not a spitter, huh?
This is terrible, Nate.
Yeah. Do you have an extra beer to wash this taste out of my mouth?
Here.
Yeah, yeah.
Have some of mine.
I mean,
I was going to say, what are you pairing it with? That's important.
Yeah, we're pairing it with a Celebration Fresh IPA from Sierra Nevada.
Oh, very nice.
My husband
Here you
smokes
go.
these
Drink.
for,
Well,
For
smoke
fun?
what you can smoke of it. The point
Yeah.
is, you tried, you're here.
yeah.
Oof,
No, he for a while he quit smoking and then started smoking cigars, you know, for special occasions. But then every Tuesday was a special occasion, and every other day of the week too. So then he had to switch back to cigarettes.
Well, you should probably switch back to cigars and just
Get face cancer.
do it once or twice a week and make it a special relaxation type of thing.
Well, that's the problem. Is every day is a relaxation thing. Suck the head! Suck the head! I got you, boo. Thank you. Wow. There you go.
Yeah, Melissa knows how to hold things in her mouth.
Well, I thought that since this had sat for a while, it wouldn't be like that. But
Well, he said he only shook 2 up, and he didn't get the shaken up one, so I was waiting for
well,
that to
I
happen.
figured it had settled by now. All right.
Fucking Nate.
All right, so we're here. We're smoking cigars.
Or at least giving it our all.
I may have given up.
That's okay. You tried.
That's all good.
Yeah.
We're just here.
Don't give
and
up.
You know what?
This is a very nice cigar, and we specifically chose it for you
I'll
two.
try a little bit more. Okay.
Yeah, these
So-
are this.
so what-
This is the Midwest Shenanigans special edition.
What about these cigars screamed Midwest Shenanigans, Melissa and Nicole?
Well, they're very light and they're kind of narrow gauge, so we thought it would match most northern men.
Yes.
Okay.
They're light and they're kind of buttery. The middle is a little buttery.
The middle,
They're
the middle
not
part. You got to get through that first.
If we can get to
Yeah.
the middle.
Yeah.
They're not as strong and overpowering.
I wish we had video of this.
Oh, we could get video. We got our phones.
Mine's almost dead.
Here, I'll get a picture of us for posterity's sake.
Yeah.
Don't know that
You'll
we
have to
need,
send those to us so we can post them on our page.
Am I holding it right? I'm holding it like...
Yeah, and
This
you want to
stinky
cup. You want to
thing that I
cup
wanna
the
get
balls
rid
at the end there.
This is how I hold all
And-
penises.
and-
Like this.
I'm sending that to Mike so he knows.
3 fingers up in the air.
Don't send it yet. My phone is not on silent.
You know what, Mike? I think that'll be okay. And we're leaving all the cackles, just for
Leave it
your
totally
husband.
Do
For
unedited.
your
you
husband.
usually
Yeah.
edit those out?
What's that?
Do you usually edit those out?
No, you've
Oh.
heard Mike wheeze.
Your
Yeah.
wheeze.
Well, it's probably from smoking.
Yeah.
Yes.
So before you came on, Mike, I was marveling at Nate's studio, and I was looking around, and I noticed all of the many ashtrays he has. And the irony was not lost on me. There was a time, roughly 20 years ago, where I had skipped part of my school day to go smoke cigarettes with my cousin and a couple friends. And I came back and he could smell it on me. And I shit you not, his eyes welled up with concern. He was so worried about me for smoking. And now, 20 years later, we are in Nate's studio smoking cigars that Nate has provided.
Well, cigarettes are
see.
bad though.
Touche.
I thought you were going to say that you were in his studio and was criticizing the pristine nature of his hand tools, which I was going to
did that
say.
That
Uh,
maybe happened
You see, hand tools look like that when you use them
when you
and
don't
then
use them.
clean them and take care of them and don't abuse them. Right?
Oh, we assumed they were new and never used.
We assumed they were new. My husband's hand tools do not.
Yeah,
were you?
He was listening.
Oh, but we couldn't hear him.
He was listening through the security camera. He's got a feed out
Oh.
here, a video feed.
That I know is sarcasm.
Yeah, a little bit.
I could hear you on the other end of the line, but you could not hear me.
Yeah, we might not even have had our headphones on at that point. I don't remember.
I don't know. He just had some really
before we get
shiny wrenches. Sorry, what?
I'm sorry. Before we get too far into this, I have to do a couple of shout outs as thank yous for making this episode possible. I want to thank Keith for being the audio tech person who told me how to get this all set up. And if it sounds terrible, it's because I only listened to him half of the time and didn't really do the setup that he wanted me to do or advised me to do. So that I'll remedy that for next time we do a big in-group session. So we've got Melissa and Nicole here in person. And Mike is remote, wherever the hell he might be. So we're rocking 3 mics. And also need to shout out to Charlie for providing one of the 3 mics for us to use. So without our good friends Keith and Charlie, you'd only be hearing 3 of us instead of all 4 of us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keith and Charlie.
All right. And your podcast is about embarrassing stories. And boy, do I just have one now that happened for you.
Nicole's ready.
Yeah. So I invited 2 women to my garage, and they made fun of my hand tools.
I mean, are you not used to that?
That sounds embarrassing, Nate.
Yeah.
So, Nicole and I like to regale each other with stories of our careers, of our children, our husbands, other funny stories that we've heard, and embellishment may or may not happen.
No.
But so that's kind of how our podcast started. It was Nicole's, baby.
My idea.
Her
baby.
yes.
Well,
her vision.
I've gotten into creative writing like a long time ago. So I write short stories, basically just stuff about my life or whatever.
She wrote porn about my chickens.
Yeah, I did write porn about Melissa's chickens. This is true. So I was. I listen to a lot of podcasts because I have an hour commute to work. So I wanted to somehow get all my stories out there without actually getting them published because that's a lot of work. So I was like, how about a podcast? And I want to hear other people's stories too because a lot of podcasts are just famous people talking. And I'm like, I can't relate to that time I got drafted in the NFL or that time I posed nude for Playboy or whatever. So I wanted to do
same.
Yeah.
Second one.
I just wanted Midwest stories of normal folks.
With casseroles.
Yeah, casseroles and chicken porn.
Yeah.
So
why the fuck not?
So I started this podcast and Melissa was like, oh, we should do this and this and this. And I was like, oh, I guess I have a co-host. And so it's just,
I invited myself in.
It's been the 2 of us, but we are always looking for guests and stories. If people want to type them up and send them in or come be a guest, but our studio is not nearly as cool as this one. It's my car.
Sometimes it's my bed.
Or Melissa's car
which
or
is
bed.
Better than this.
And and just to be clear, all the hand tools by Melissa's bed have been used.
Yes.
And thoroughly cleaned.
They're not rusty either. She has other ways of getting tetanus.
Well, silicone doesn't rust, so.
So yes, that's what Midwest Shenanigans is about.
And that's on Spotify, right? You can go find that on Spotify.
It is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. It's the one with the picture of a boat because there's another one that's out there somewhere. I'm not sure what platform, but it's hunting stories.
Fuckers.
So maybe you should have him on your show and say, hey, we're bigger than you now. So
yeah.
We do have, we have some hunting stories, taxidermy, lots of dead animal stories. I don't know how or why, but
we're in Wisconsin.
I know, it just happens.
Part of the norm around here.
Right.
We've got stories about greasy chicken bone.
Ed
Yep.
Gein. I mean, not Ed Gein, but
Ed Gein-like children.
Yes.
That I made. Mm-hmm. Have you listened to that
one, raising
Mike?
cockroaches in your house. It's ridiculous.
Yes,
I have listened to all of your episodes now.
Have you?
Thank you.
You enjoyed
I
us?
did. I actually did. It was very
Are you glad you're not married to us?
Yes, I am.
Our husbands probably wished they would have made better life choices.
For those listeners who want to cross-pollinate to their podcast, I'm going to tell a story on their show that involves my Sarah. So, There we go. I believe. Isn't that the idea? We're going to do Christmas stories,
That's the
right?
idea.
Yes,
We're going to do
yes.
a holiday.
And I have a
know
Christmas
specifically
story.
Christmas, but
Any sort
Bah,
of
humbug.
holiday stories, family tradition stories. It doesn't have to be Christmas related. We don't give a fuck. We just want good family stories because I've got some for you. Holy fuck.
yes, and that episode will actually come out before this episode that we're doing right now, because we're recording this during our hiatus time, in between season 2 and 3. So this will be, I believe, what did we say, Mike? Episode 2 of season 3.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, it may or may
Unless
not
you guys
change.
want episode 1, but it could be 2 or 3. It doesn't really matter.
We don't care.
I don't think we even have seasons or episode numbers.
No, we just
We just hit publish.
yeah,
edit.
we're just living on the fly.
Right. We're on, I don't know, episode like 70 or something like that.
Yeah, we're going to hit episode 100 this next season. So
Oh, congratulations.
yes,
We'll
yes.
send you gifts. Probably
cigars.
bad cigars.
a rusty hand tool, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to find the cheapest cigars and the rustiest hand tools to send you.
We were gonna make our own taxidermy. We could probably include one of your mice.
Yeah. We decided, well, this episode of Midwest Shenanigans is coming out tomorrow, so by the time you hear this, it'll be out. But yes, Melissa and I decided we are going to try do-it-yourself taxidermy.
All you need is a fucking freezer and some salt and like
And some shit to stuff it with.
shit to cut it open
Yep.
and like fucking quilt batting.
So,
We're gonna make taxidermy.
New hobby. You know, my husband...
Also, Nate, do you remember how afraid Tad is of taxidermy?
Yeah.
Coming up with new ways to torture my husband.
Well, and my husband hates all my hobbies because it takes up space in his life, and every time I get a new, like, needle or something, he's like, oh my god, it's more shit. So he is going to be so excited when I get another new hobby, and there's dead animals involved.
I can't fucking wait.
We basically live to torture our husbands. It's the
What
only
else
joy
is
we get.
marriage? You're married, right, Mike? To a
Yes,
Sarah?
we are both married to a Sarah.
Yes.
Yes, different
Different
Sarahs.
Sarahs.
Yeah.
I would
Different
imagine.
Sarahs. Yes, different Sarahs. My Sarah is from
No.
Minneapolis originally.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
So does she have any annoying hobbies that you want to talk about? Do you have any annoying hobbies?
Either of the Sarahs have... Do you guys
Well,
have any
maybe
funny
that
wife
is better
stories?
for the Midwest Shenanigan episode.
Well,
I do have
It's up to
annoying
Mike.
hobbies.
I don't know. What are we talking about?
Whatever you guys want to.
You have what,
I guess
Mike?
it's
Yeah,
annoying
you
hobbies.
guys
then.
are the guests,
I
you
don't
know.
know.
We can do annoying hobbies, sure.
Well, you guys can pick a topic too, because we had a list of like 13 things. So
That we forgot.
yeah.
You see, the format of our show is that we have a topic and then one of us researches it and the other one doesn't. So we have a sounding board for somebody who doesn't know anything about what we're talking about.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll know something that Nate is already talking about, and sometimes he'll know something I'm talking about. But usually it's like a very specific topic, like
So you
old
pick a
order
topic.
Amish communities. Yeah, I'll
I'll
research
really
old
quick
order
Google
Amish
it.
communities in Ohio. And then we'll talk about it, and Nate will ask questions, and I will answer them after I do my 45 minutes of endless babble.
Well,
Yeah.
we're really good at the endless babble part.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
our format is that we get in my car
And we're really fucking torqued up about something.
and then we're like, oh, hey, your husband hates taxidermy. Let's talk about that. And then we just go off on random tangents until
Until we forget what we're
there's
talking
dead
about.
air. And we're like, well, I guess that's
coming
it.
next week.
Yup. There's no format. Well,
we don't
sometimes
know how
I'll be
to
like,
edit it.
oh, remember, I have to tell you about this story. So then I'll like wait till we do the podcast, but then I'll forget what the story is. And then she has to remind me. And then,
I take notes sometimes.
I do have lists, but I don't know where they are. They're on my phone.
I keep them
somewhere.
on my phone, and I only have one app that I put lists into, and I just usually title it with your name, like
Oh.
Nicole's fucked up ideas.
I love that you have a list called My Fucked Up Ideas. That's awesome.
So we can follow your
FYI.
format.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
Just tell me what to Google, and I'll Google it.
Oh, no. FYI, I'm about halfway through my cigar. I'm sure that you guys are not halfway through.
Oh,
Nate-
Nate's a
Nate's-
good amount through.
Yeah,
I
Nate's
think
a
Nicole,
little further than me.
Nicole
I'm-
finished hers.
I'm
She's
keeping
done.
up.
She outsmoked you, Mike. I can't believe it.
Mine is DOA.
By the way,
Melissa's
this
still
is a
lit.
Macanudo Hyde Park. It's a very good cigar.
Yeah, I like it so
It is.
far.
Oh, it's
I'm
medium
not
bodied.
throwing up yet, so
I'm just about halfway. We're comparing sizes over here, Nicole and I. Hers
mine's
is
bigger.
His
Mine's
is shorter.
bigger.
Yeah,
His is definitely shorter.
but mine's more used. So
Yep.
I was telling them before we started this kind of reminds me of the one and only time I got high. My 30th birthday, I invited some people to the cabin, and I had never gotten high before, and all my friends were potheads. And I'm like, oh, you guys want me to get high? And they were like, fuck yeah. So I smoked with them, and I didn't even think I got anything because I was like trying to inhale, but coughing everywhere. And then I don't remember the rest of the night, and I was trying to eat a lot of cheese curds because I thought that would help my throat because it was like creamy or something, is what I thought.
Oh.
cheese curds usually help.
Yeah, well, I mean, cheese
Lots of
helps
things.
everything.
Yeah.
So, whatever. But yeah, I was like, this,
When in Wisconsin.
right, this whole smoking thing reminds me of that other time I smoked like a dozen years ago.
Well, and we're recording in Minnesota, so the Minnesota laws apply to this recording, and weed is legal in Minnesota, so
And I'm talking about something that happened 12 years ago.
it's outside the statute of limitations. But
Yeah.
we're not
Right,
lawyers or doctors, so
Certain
don't
kinds of
listen to
cannabis
us.
are legal in Wisconsin, Nate. So
I have
It-
no
you
idea
know.
what kind of cannabis it was 12 years ago, and it's definitely illegal back then.
If you can outrun the cow or the cop, you can do whatever you want.
yes.
All right, so somebody say something because now I
Yeah,
don't
well, I
know.
guess so I know Melissa because we went to high school together.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we should.
And then she brought Nicole into my life today.
Today.
And that has been fun. I've enjoyed it so far. I'd say 10-10 if you get a chance to meet Nicole.
She's
you should probably take
amazing. Your wife loves her also.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
Yep, there you go. That's 3 people vouching for you. We'll see what Mike thinks after the show.
These two ladies are weirdos. I've listened to their podcast, and they have stories that
morals?
are relatable and entertaining. Even
Well, that
though
was the goal.
one of your daughters, whoever the daughter is that has the boyfriend that still plays with tractors at like 20
Tratters.
years old, I'm not
Yeah,
a fan of
that's
that.
mine.
But that's okay. You know, I
He's
bowl.
unique.
Yeah, it's way too unique for me.
Ideally, I would prefer to see him, like changing my daughter's oil or
Doing something productive, maybe.
yeah, like something, helping her bring the groceries in, restocking the toilet paper tube on his own, but like
Your standards are way too high.
I know. I'm not his biggest fan either, but she loves him. She's happy with him. And ultimately, it's her life, not mine. So I just kind of hang out in the background.
Do your sons change the toilet paper roll on their own?
No. They wait for their sisters to do it. I don't even go in their bathroom because I'm deathly afraid I'm going to get dysentery or syphilis or something.
Some of those
The
things you can
bathrooms
live
are
through
nasty.
nowadays, but
You're the first person to die of dysentery in like 150
Since the
years.
Oregon Trail.
Yeah. I mean, you got that tetanus shot though. No, so
I
you should be
did.
all
I
right.
did.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you've listened to our episodes, and so you heard the episode about the tetanus tangle, and
I was very confused because I've been in many old boats and none of them had any steel components in them. They were all aluminum. So
Well, yeah,
the fact that
it
there was
was rusty.
steel riveted, I don't know how that works.
I don't know if it was steel, but anytime you rip your thumb off, it's a good idea to get it
with something rusty.
Yeah. Anytime there's a deep cut involved, actually.
Don't blame the boat. You had a ring on your thumb and that
fair.
probably
That's
caused
fair.
your
Yes.
issue, right?
I did tell her she was lucky she didn't get degloved.
Yes, yeah. I did acknowledge. Oh, thank you, Nate. He just gave me another beer. Is this one shaken up too?
extra shaken. Shaken, not
Fuck.
stirred.
It's a milkshake.
You remember I like James Bond. Of course I shake and not stir my beer.
Yeah.
So your boat story reminds me of a boat story. Should I tell it here or should I save it
Yes,
for
please.
Okay.
Since
So-
we took over your format, we're just gonna shoot the shit, I guess.
Sure.
This is like the Nice Ashes edition of Midwest Shenanigans.
I think I just
Yes.
listened to the mic. I apologize.
That's going to be my new ringtone.
Do you want me to do it too?
Go ahead.
No, it wasn't. It was that. It was a puny one.
All right, subscribe to Melissa and Nicole's Only Burps.
Oh, could we they sell those on OnlyFans? Is there a fetish for that? Oh my
Yes,
god!
there is.
Fuck yeah!
Are you serious?
Do I get to quit my
Yes,
jobs?
there is.
Yeah, I think you also have to show your feet, though. I don't know.
Pussy farts.
Probably.
Oh.
We could do that.
The queefing? You could do queefing.
Oh, queefing is a thing.
That reminds me of a story. But I would like to hear Mike's boat story first, and we will circle back
Boats,
to the
then queefs,
queefing.
then I have an amputation story.
Okay.
Hey,
No,
they
I
all
think that-
relate. They all relate.
I think that
Is
all
this the same story?
I think all the gentlemen listening would rather hear your queef story than my boat story.
Well, get your boat story done so we can get to the
Yes,
queefing.
let's
This
go.
is
We talked about
like
a little man
making
in a
everyone
boat.
listen to the end.
Sure. So I go paddle fishing every year on this borderline of North Dakota and Montana.
And it's
And-
actually a fish. It's not a paddle. I thought he was
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to get more paddles for his canoe,
Oh.
but
No,
That's
it's
not-
a
that's not what that
it's a
is.
fish called a paddlefish, and we sleep on an
Oh.
island.
I was trying to figure out
Yeah.
what kind of boat a paddle fishing boat is.
No.
not a
We,
paddle
we,
boat.
Now I'm with you.
we sleep on an
See,
island.
this is where Google would have
Yeah.
come in handy.
Yeah, and there's only men allowed on the island because we drink.
sounds like your kind of island.
Well,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Drink too. I'd rather
We drink
than-
from 7 in the morning until everybody passes out, and then we wake up at 7 in the morning again because fishing is from
So
7 to 7.
have you ever seen noon?
No.
You've never seen noon
No,
when you're
No.
out fishing.
no,
Start drinking at 7
What?
in the morning.
I don't
No.
know.
So
I
anyway,
get it.
Yeah. So we start drinking at 7, and this builds in. So we bring a boat that we called the Ridge Runner, and it was this old duck boat that hadn't been used for 30 years. And my friend went out and tested it and put rivets with a rivet gun, like a normal rivet gun, and tried to seal it up. And then we put Ridge Runner in yellow electrical tape on the side because it was such a piece of shit. And the motor didn't have a top and it was barely running. So we take this boat out and we're going to go down the river to a different spot to try to fish at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we had been drinking since 7. And this is the third day probably of drinking. So we get the boat up to speed and we're all drinking still. Like we all have beers in our hands and we're drinking. And the rivets start popping out of the boat. And water starts shooting into the air. And we're cruising max speed of this putt-putt motor down the Yellowstone River. It's flooded. And my friend, who is drunk, and I'm drunk, and his son's there, and he's drunk, we're trying to pop the rivets popping out of the boat as we're driving down the river. And we had to continue to drive until we put in all the rivets that popped out. And they popped out for probably 20 minutes. Just water flying through. Like when a rivet pops on a boat like that, it's like a jet of water that shoots out. It's forceful. So we're popping, and it's like a rivet gun you'd use for auto body. It's not anything fancy, you know. It's Harbor Freight rivet gun. So we're drunk, falling over, trying to get the rivets in the hole, going full speed.
Would you
Trying
say
to
it
put
was a
rivets
bunch
in the
of
hole.
drunk, wet men trying to plug each other's holes?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so.
You guys didn't have any tampons for this.
Yeah, that would have made a lot more sense than fucking putting the rivets back in.
I mean, I feel like the holes
you
would be
needed
too
a
small
woman.
You know
for a
what's funny is-
tampon, but you could take it apart a little bit and like kind of.
Mike told me they all had tampons on them, but
Yeah.
there wasn't going to be the first one to pull one out because then they're going to get made fun of the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
What would have made more sense is instead of bringing a cooler of beer with us, we would have brought life jackets. So if the boat sank, we could have not drowned in the. And by the way, this is like the first week of May. There's still snow on the ground. The water is 30 degrees. Like if you fall into there,
life
you're
jacket's
gonna.
not going to help you. Then you're going to die.
Yeah, you're gonna
Anyway.
die. So
Well, I'm glad you lived to tell the tale.
yes. Also, my friend, one of the friends, just got into a fist fight the night before at like 2 a.m. So he was all bruised up trying to do it. His face was all swollen. It's great. Because we're just a group of like 60 guys drinking full time,
60?
gambling.
Like 6-0?
Yeah. 6-0, yes.
What the fuck?
This is
Yeah.
why I prefer.
It's like a sausage fest.
Yeah.
There's a brawl
You
every
even allow
year.
women? Why did you?
No
not-
women are
Just
allowed.
sausage
I have a
fest.
different story about a group of guys that weren't part of our camping group. that brought women over for one night, and they left.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The women came and they're like, there's no fucking snacks. There's no fucking wine. It's just sausages everywhere that I can't even eat. I mean, I could, I guess. They'd probably find that.
Everyone has their own preferences.
I don't think it was any of that. I think it was the call of 60 drunk men at 7 a.m. saying, "Where's the women? Where's the women?"
And they're like, we're gonna die. We gotta go. We're gonna get in this fucking rusty ass boat with these holes, and we're gonna drive out of here with hypothermia because that is safer than staying with these 60 men with their fucking one-eyed trouser trouts trying to eat us.
The night before there was a brawl at like 2:30 in the morning, loud, like crazy loud.
Oh God, it's like the Wild West.
It's awesome.
That 7 a.m. wake-up call is the modern equivalent of paddle faster, I hear banjos.
Yes, yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
They did not fish on the island that morning.
With women. Because I traveled with Melissa. We went on a little camping trip, 3 moms.
Yeah, we even had cookies.
Everybody had their shit together. We left at
We were on time?
Yep, we left
That sounds
at
terrible.
6 a.m. Everybody's ready to go. I said, you know what? We're 3 women for 2 days. We need some snacks. We'll get breakfast on the way. We need to cook some dinner, and we'll have leftovers for breakfast, and then we need some snacks, and then we're going to go home and eat dinner. Melissa brought 2, oversized coolers full of food.
Calm down. What if we got high and hungry?
What if we ran into 60 ravenous men and had to feed them all?
we would have escaped unscathed and full.
I would have ridden your cooler as you're trying to escape. But it was, everybody did their own dishes. Everybody cleaned up their own shit. We didn't have to clean up after men. We had snacks. It was beautiful.
Yeah, we even all experienced somebody handing us a coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
It was divine.
Somebody else cooked for us, and
yes.
We still all pitched in. Somehow somebody else was cooking for us. I'm like, why am I not a lesbian?
I do you.
Well, thank you. I do you too.
So we're going to take a quick break.
Mike, you should have been here in person.
Yeah, it would have been a different show. This would have been actually on OnlyFans only.
We could sell that shit.
Oh, so
we don't want to get canceled by social media. I tell you that.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, social media could suck it or lick it or flick it or bop it or twist it.
Whatever
or pull it.
works.
I mean, I don't think I'm famous enough for canceling to matter. I don't know. What are they going to do? Cancel Midwest Shenanigans?
Oh no, my 5 followers can't find me anymore.
I'd be like, sorry, friends.
Here, just let me DM you on the podcast.
Yeah, you're just going to have to follow me on Facebook now.
All right, so I've got maybe 2.5 inches left.
Oh,
Where are you at, Mike?
More than that.
That's okay.
I have the longest one.
I have about 2 inches left. So
okay, so we've got an amputee story and a queefing story. Do you think we should save the queefing for last, Mike?
Well, why not?
Yeah, we might as well at this point. End on a bang or a puff of air, right? So we will do the amputee story first.
Oh, goody. So this is kind of a holiday story, too. Several years ago, there was a small town festival thing with Christmas lights, and there was horses on sleighs, and you could roast marshmallows and stuff. So we thought we'd have a wholesome family night and go bring our little daughter to this thing and whatever. And she wants to ride on the sleigh. So we get the wristbands and everything. We get on the back of the sleigh. And there's a woman on the back, kind of security, she's kind of riding on the, outside the thing. And so my daughter's asking, why are you riding out there or whatever? And she's like, oh, these are my horses. That's my husband, driving them, whatever. And we start talking about, the upcoming weather. And I say something about my commute. And this guy next to my husband goes, I say, I work at whatever hospital. And the guy next to my husband looks at me and goes, do you know Dr. X? And I'm like, I don't know. I float. No, not really. And he pulls off his glove and goes, he tried to reattach these. And he's got all 4 fingers cut off at the first knuckle. And my husband just rolls his eyes because I can't go anywhere without weirdness.
No, when you're in the medical care fields, like,
It's just...
they all find you and they want you to look at their weird moles
And I want to
diagnose
look at them.
their mental. I don't. That's why I work with children now.
This guy's
all I have to
nubs.
look at is
I wanted
boogers.
them. I get to look at boogers too. But so he's like, "Oh, he tried to reattach these," and I was like, "Yeah." So my husband's shaking his head. This guy's wife is shaking her head. I'm like, if I were single, this would be my meet cute scene. Like, this would be like. So I'm like, how did that happen? You know, I need to know. And
What do
everybody
those
else
stubs do?
Oh, that reminds me of another story. So I want to know, and he's not stopping, and everybody else on the sleigh is like, "Oh my god!" Like they're trying to shield their kids' eyes and cover their ears.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah." So I was doing some remodeling, and I dropped a counter on him, and the fingers popped off like grapes and went flying across the room. And my buddy had to get the countertop off him, and then he had to go pick up my fingertips and put them in a baggie, much like the pigtails in the baggie.
Yeah.
But he didn't put them on his refrigerator. So they go to the closest ER, and it's closed, because an ER closes up where they were up, like, north. So he's banging on the window with his bloody stump, and the nurse comes out. She's like, "What do you need?" And he's like, "I need these put back on this." And he's holding his baggie of fingers. But there was no helicopter available. And so he had to do an ambulance, and it was a crush injury. And by that time, you couldn't reattach him anymore. So he ended up not having them reattached. And so now he's just showing his stumps to random strangers on a beautiful sleigh ride with families and everything.
And children.
Some people make good money that way.
Yeah.
So I have a stump story also. I also used to work in a
You
hospital.
leave Tad out of this.
It doesn't involve him this time. No, when I was working med surge, we had a guy come in. He was in the ED for a while, and then they sent him up. He got high in his kitchen, and he took his kitchen scissors and he cut all of his toes off. And yeah, they couldn't. I don't know what happened with the toes, if they couldn't find him, they couldn't reattach him, he mangled them. So I have no idea. But he came up with his feet wrapped very well and was just screaming, just cussing everybody out.
What kind of scissors did he use? I can't imagine it was the safety scissors.
I don't know.
What was he getting high on? That was my question. Jeez,
It's got to be
Fentanyl
laced with
in our
like meth
area.
or something, right?
I mean, and
Yeah.
that's
Probably.
there is a mental disorder where people will cut off perfectly good appendages. Like, they're like, "Oh, geez, my right hand, I have decided that's a tumor, so I'm going to cut it off," or whatever. But if it was just that he got high, you'd think he'd stop after one. There's 10 of them.
I
Just
don't
start,
know.
like,
he
reevaluating
just
your life
fucking
decisions.
sawed them all off.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, just watch some Arnold. It's not a tumor.
No, you see some fucked up shit in the hospital.
He must have had bird shears. Had to have.
Was
Yeah,
it one of
tin
the
snips,
walls,
maybe? Tin snips?
Was
Tin
it
snips.
that?
You could
Bird
cut
shears.
fingers off with that there, yeah.
We were told kitchen scissors. Like, he just took kitchen scissors and started hacking.
I mean,
his
it doesn't
fucking
really
toes.
matter.
That's
a
really-
nice nurse type of question. Like, what kind of scissors? Bitch, it does not matter.
Well, you
Well,
need
it
to
matters
do
to the
documentation.
average listener, not to a nurse, but, you know, to average people.
I'm like, we putting leeches on him or no? What are we doing here? Okay, what do I have to do today?
Are we peeing on him?
I don't think it was a jellyfish.
That is never a treatment. No, not anymore. Maybe
No.
back in the day.
A lot
That
of
is not true.
people's,
There
a
was
lot
a
of people
treatment with
kinks
pee and
just
feces.
Back in the day or like today?
Back in the day, I just finished
Yeah.
Gulliver's Travels today, and that was one of the medical tinctures that was suggested in the novel from, 1700 or whatever.
I guess they do suggest to pee on athlete's foot, but I think that's a military thing, like last resort.
When my kids went to Louisiana, one of the kids that went with them got stung by a jellyfish, and her mom fucking dropped trout on the beach and pissed on her daughter. And I guess it worked. According to them, it was effective.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of jellyfish stings in Minnesota, so might be.
They were in Louisiana.
Right.
so.
I don't see it a lot because we're in Minnesota. If I saw a jellyfish injury, that'd be weird.
I suppose you could pee on frostbite to warm it up.
Well,
But you have to keep it warm after that, so you can't just pee on it and then leave it, and then you'd have pee icicles.
Cake it in shit. Like Mike said, pee and feces treatment.
sepsis faster. Yay.
You either get it from that or from the hospital sometimes, right?
Yeah, I mean that's
Wasn't there a big bout of sepsis going around the hospitals in the country for a while?
I know we had C. diff in the nursing home.
Yeah, I was
like,
going to say
that
C.
went
diff is
everywhere.
a thing that goes around.
And if your immune system is weakened enough, I would imagine it could lead to sepsis because the bacteria just take over. But I don't think
sepsis isn't usually like contagious. Though.
Sepsis is like when your whole
it's like an all over body infection.
Yeah, multi-organ failure
right. From
due
infection.
to infection.
Right.
The blue screen of death, human edition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't come back from that.
But it's usually not.
You can come back from
contagious either.
sepsis. You can.
Unless it's like
you can.
if you're passing around pneumonia and everybody gets sepsis from pneumonia, that would be contagious. But sepsis itself is like,
Anyway, this is all too medical for me. I work in an elementary school now.
So time for Queef story.
All
Hopefully
right,
it doesn't.
yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't involve the elementary school children.
No, it involves my husband.
I've
though.
got the police on speed dial just in case it does.
That's fine.
it came us here to set us up to get arrested.
Yes.
Hey, surprise, entrapment.
So Nate knows Tad. I'm assuming Mike does not.
Probably not. I don't think so. Tad doesn't usually come to the shindigs that Mike and I invite him to, which is really weird.
Well, tell me that you've invited him somewhere,
Okay.
and I will force him to go.
Perfect. We love that, don't we? What is it, Mike? We said the beatings continue until morale improves kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe
I don't think I've ever met a man named Tad, but if I did, I apologize.
He is my husband. I met him through Nate. We were all in high school together, and as you were sitting there telling some jokes that just went right the fuck over my head, like I had this flashback moment to the high school lunch table where I would read blonde jokes that didn't make any sense, and I would usually wind up with spaghetti sauce on my back. Do you remember those days?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know how in depth we wanted to go into that, but
So anyway, I met my husband through Nate. We didn't get together until like 9 years after meeting. I had 3 kids, a divorce under my belt, and I decided, you know what, Tad is what I want, and I pursued until he gave up.
just stalk that prey until it's exhausted.
Yes.
and
Dig it.
9 kids later, we found out Tad has strong swimmers.
Something like that. And no, he when you ask him, he literally does say, I needed something in writing. I didn't care if it was a marriage certificate or a restraining order. I just needed something documented. So there was one time we were being intimate, and
Wait, did Tad queef?
no,
Classy.
he was behind me, and I may have farted on him.
Were you guys playing horsey?
No, we were not. And he literally picked me up and threw me across the bed. And he goes, "What the fuck was that?" And I said, have you ever heard of a queef? And he did not believe me. And he still, to this day, 10 years later, does not let me live that down. So that's my queef story.
So was it a fart or a queef?
It was a fart.
So you're like trying to play it off. That was your fault, dude. But did it smell? So then he knew?
I don't recall. I just remember flying across the room.
I don't know if that was the appropriate reaction for a fart.
Yeah, he doesn't react that way anymore.
Now you fart on him all the time, and he's
10
like,
years
cool.
and 9 kids later, he is just like, I'm going to take what I can get.
I thought maybe you took him out to the paddock and broke him.
Yeah, speaking of like, men being okay with things that they didn't think they'd be okay with. Like, I have one child, and Matt was like, I am not going to watch the birth. It's going to, like, ruin me, blah, blah, blah. Well, when it was actually happening, the nurse is like, grab a leg, and he's like, raw.
Did he step up his game?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And he's
I
looking
didn't
down
need
there,
another reason to be mad at him.
He's looking down, he's like, I can see her coming out. I'm like, stop looking! And then after she came out, the nurse is like, "Oh, do you want to look at the placenta?" I was like, "Fuck no." And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Who are you? You didn't want to be, you wanted to be at the top of the head, like combing my hair back. Like, it's okay," as you're like trying to like hold back vomit. And no, instead he's all like, "I can see her coming out." Oh.
Well, since we've got two women here, Mike, this is like the opportune time for me to ask my favorite question to ask to people about birthing.
Let's hear it.
And birth.
It hurts.
It does. Times a lot.
Eating the placenta, is that cannibalism? Because I believe it is.
I don't know. I'm not going to eat my placenta, and that's gross. I don't know if that qualifies it cannibalism.
It is a human organ. So, I mean, and we see it in wildlife, like animals eat their own placenta, but
chickens eat other chickens.
Chickens eat, like their favorite meal is me fucking throwing out leftover chicken.
Hold on a second here, big dog. When lions take over the pride, they slaughter and eat all of the cubs. So let's not compare ourselves to the animal world. Because men don't do that. Well, men usually do not slaughter and eat all of the children.
Did we have we haven't done the cannibal episode yet, the serial killer cannibal episode yet, but
that's my favorite kind of podcast is true crime and cannibals. And stuff. Yeah,
let's hear it.
Well, my
I don't know, like
So animals eat their own like placentas and things because they're trying to hide that they just had a baby from predators. So people say, "Oh, it's for nutrients or whatever." You know, wild animals do. Wild animals also are always seeking nutrients because they don't get to go to the grocery store, and they're also trying to hide their new baby from predators. So I totally get why, like, a deer or a cow or a horse or a lion would eat the placenta and all the other stuff because, food is scarce, and they're trying to hide the food that they just produce from everything else that's going to eat it. Humans in a hospital, we don't have to do that. I'm going to just order the shitty hospital food and eat my breakfast.
Dude, we got shrimp and steak. It was good.
Ooh. I got like
a baked
potato.
I
did get a giant,
come to Wisconsin, give birth, and you can eat fresh seafood from the many oceans.
Yeah, where did you give
that
birth?
Wisconsin has?
I'm not going to say that online.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no.
In a hospital.
That'll be after.
Not in my house.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it at home.
Because I was like, I gave birth in a hospital too, but I did not get that kind of food. It was whatever. They gave me the menu.
The Wisconsin hospital, not a Minnesota one.
Oh,
so,
well, here's my.
Makes all the difference sometimes.
Yep. I don't know. I do feel like it's cannibalism. Like, I think you're onto something there.
At least we can agree that it's kind of like questionable.
Baseline cannibalism is eating human
tissue.
Yeah, tissue. And it is a human produced organ that fed a human. It's human tissue.
Like eating a spleen or a liver.
Yeah.
Eating a booger or like semen is different.
Eating semen is totally different, ladies.
Keep
it
up.
Yeah.
That's not human tissue. That is human byproducts.
Yes.
So vegetarians can eat eggs because they are byproducts of
what about
the animal.
Where does eating ass fall into that?
You can get E. coli from that. Don't do it.
Let's ask your wife, Nate.
That'll be a future podcast episode. Stay tuned. Where are you at with your stick, Mike?
I am borderline burning my fingers.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I got a ways to go. You guys can just keep going, though. I'll catch up.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean,
you can have mine.
No, thank you.
We can.
I'm impressed.
Here's
that I got
a
this
skinny.
far.
Here's a skinny, listeners.
Okay.
This is a very medium-bodied cigar. It starts off a little acetone, which we heard a lot about. It turns into a more medium-bodied, buttery, soft smoke, and then it builds up a little bit of body, and it's very smooth and medium. And I like it. It's very nice.
Yeah, I quite like this one, too. It did have the harsh start, which Nicole did not get through, and that's okay. That's okay because it's not for everybody, and we've never said cigars were for everybody.
I will say it no longer tastes like 16.
What age are we at now?
Maybe 22.
So we've got Melissa reliving her childhood.
Was that your slutty time?
No, that was 24.
Oh.
Still some bad decisions, but not
At least it's
as
not
bad.
post-divorce going to the bar every week and getting a random guy. You know what I
Calm
mean?
That
the
was
fuck
the 24.
down, Mike. That was every other weekend. I had kids to take care of.
I'm not divorced, and that's how I spent my 20s.
I'm just trying to
and
flex
mine-
that I listened to every episode and Nate did not.
Thank you.
Nate tried to listen to every episode, but Nate had a little bit too much of that special Kahlua.
And he
that you
couldn't
got
listen
me.
to two chicks squawking at each
And,
other for that long.
I was listening, and I listened to the first one, so I could figure out how those two met, because Melissa wouldn't tell me. She forced me to listen to the episode.
Oh yeah, I told
And
you if you
then
wanted to know, just fucking listen.
I kind of skimmed through and picked the ones that sounded most interesting. And I was telling Melissa I was very disappointed that the bush trimming episode was actually about hedges and not about
The
like
tree.
getting delicate bits caught in razors and things like that. So-
I told Nicole that when we got here and Nate answered the door that she needed to do like a little shimmy and go, "Hello, neighbor Nate. I have some hedges that I need trimmed."
And I forgot. And I was just like, hey, nice to meet you. Lame. Whatever.
yeah, of course, having a 3-year-old and 7-month-old also
yeah,
greet you at the door.
that didn't really provide a
Kind of,
conducive
That really
blanks your mind out.
sogified the
environment.
mood, you know. And also, we're both married to other people, so.
Yeah.
Well, when I told my husband that I was coming on this podcast, he was very concerned. And Melissa's
Also
like,
jealous and
Yeah.
mad.
not till later.
He wasn't jealous that you guys are men. He was jealous of the cigars.
Well, and I started with, I need to borrow your headphones. And he was very concerned about the whereabouts of his headphones and what I was getting into. And then I told him I was going to be a podcast about cigars. And he was like, what the hell do you know about cigars? I was
Literally nothing.
like, nothing. He's like, why do they want to talk to you? Why don't they want to talk to me? I'm more interesting. I was like, I don't know. Goodbye, sir. Watch the child.
You should have told him that apparently I know a lot more about cigars than you, since I'm invited to be on a cigar podcast.
Right. And I think that might be why he's jealous. And also he's not. Well, he might be smoking a cigar by himself right now. I don't know. It's not my problem.
Knowing about
So,
cigars is not as important as being interesting. And clearly, you two are more interesting since you have your own podcast and he does not.
Sorry, Melissa's losing it over here. What was that?
Opened another beer.
You know what? I
Sorry.
think it was because it was in close proximity to that queefing farting story, and the beer liked it. I don't know.
Okay. God damn! I did not come over here to suck the head.
We would have gone to some other man's house for that.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. A 6'7" or a 6'6" and 3/4 tall drink of water is not a bad head to suck, I guess. If you want strong
Oh,
children.
you have a story about that, Mike?
Yeah, Did
Of
he
course
come with
I
you on
do.
the paddle fishing?
Yeah, tell us more about this
Expeditions.
paddle fishing 60
No, he gets
men all
mad
the
because he
time.
hasn't been paddle fishing yet, and I've invited him, but then I forget to tell him the exact date, and he gets all pissy. You know, it's May.
Wait, is this
1st
me we're talking
every
about?
year. Yeah, every year it's May 1st,
like
the
a
first week of
typical-
May.
Man.
May 1st.
Oh,
Okay, the first week of May. Now I know.
First week of
Fishing
May.
opener.
I gotta go then.
Yeah.
I want to go. I don't really like to fish or do fishing, but I do like the prospect of 60 drunk men. So there is
Me
that.
too.
You guys need to take Tad.
Yeah, we could probably work Tad in. You have enough gear for Tad and myself, Mike?
Well, I have a truck large enough to fit everybody's crap into as long as I don't have to pick anybody up. So we can figure it out. If you genuinely want to go, we can figure it out.
Well, I genuinely want to go. We should also do like a drunk podcast from the wild. That would be fun.
That would be.
I want to come. I
We've
want
had
to watch
several
60
episodes
drunk
from my
men.
home.
Also, I want to watch 60 drunk men do whatever, and I'll just document. I'll just sit in a tree.
Nicole. We will bring kayaks,
Oh, yes.
and we will watch from afar.
Yes, from
Yeah, you
the
already
other
know
side
the
of lake.
river, so
Safe
just start at
distance.
the source and work your way down, right? You'll find us
Yeah.
eventually.
You will
So-
not survive in your kayak on the particular river we're talking about. There's a very strong
haven't
undercurrent.
seen us
Don't tell
kayak.
them that now.
Well,
Yeah.
then we'll take the tetanus tangle.
Yeah, we'll take the tetanus tangle. That doesn't have rivets popping out because
Yeah.
Melissa probably fixed them all already with her thumb.
With tampons.
Yeah, her tampons and thumbs. She just sticks her thumbs in the holes. And she's like, I don't care if I'm ripping the skin off these. It's fine. Everything's fine.
If this actually does come to fruition, where you two go, you are required to kidnap my husband and take him with you. He needs male bonding time. He needs a break.
Has he started wearing dresses yet? Or
Well, I do have pictures of him in makeup and nail polish because he has daughters.
Yeah, well, get him all dolled up and we'll bring him. We'll bring him.
Disclaimer.
He dolled up? No, he has high cheekbones. You cannot dress him up and take him around 60 men. He's very attractive.
What does his legs look like? I haven't seen his legs. Oh, wait. I've seen him in a swimsuit. I didn't pay attention to the legs. But if you put him in a skirt,
We could call it a kilt to get him to buy into it, right?
Okay.
Absolutely.
What's your full disclosure?
Nate has met two of the guys that I fish with every year. And they are the two more reputable gentlemen. And my wife was very upset meeting them because they're wild men all the time, which I used to be once upon a time before I was domesticated.
Yeah, used to be. You're not wild anymore, Mike.
I used to be.
As long as I am the only woman he is fucking, I don't care what he does.
Oh, there's no women allowed, so that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening.
Yeah, so she doesn't care how many banjos he hears, is what she's saying.
He's fine. It's cool.
All right, well, I just put my cigar out, Mike, and I feel like you probably did the same.
I just put it down, and it was a finger burner.
Just did. Yeah, it was a finger burner. That's what I used to call one of my exes, finger burner. Anyway. Just kidding. So I like this. I like this cigar. It was good. I think it's a good one. It's a good one to start with.
I still have a question.
Oh,
what does medium-bodied mean? You guys keep saying these words, these descriptive words. So
you've got lighter cigars that
are we talking in color?
Sometimes in color, mostly in flavor is what it is. You can generally tell if it's got a lighter wrapper, then it's generally a lighter smoke. But the inner leaves are different than the outer leaves, the wrapper leaves. So it could be the old bait and switch.
It could be a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
But generally, the lighter is just a light flavor. Maybe I don't know what you would relate it to, Mike. Like just smoking, not really like a cigarette, but
no,
it's not the same flavor, but
it's the difference between the smell of a fire that has mostly oak versus a fire that has mostly pine versus having mostly birch, where it has a different odor, right? And that aroma that enters your mouth, like the darkness is like the heaviness and the overall intensity increases usually the darker they get, and the lighter they get, it's the lighter, easier going. So
you guys gave us a nice baby cigar.
Yeah, we purposefully chose
it's medium.
It's medium.
So
yeah.
I don't know that it all comes down to preference. I don't know that a light-bodied cigar is necessarily a baby cigar.
No, I wouldn't give a new cigar smoker a light-bodied cigar, typically.
No. So it's probably the good starting point for a foray into cigars.
For a new
usually
addiction.
when we're talking to people that haven't smoked cigars, we like to give them the CAO Moontrance, which is a vanilla flavored cigar. And it's very nice. And it's real vanilla. It's not the fake imitation vanilla.
So why did we not get that?
We've already smoked it on the show.
Twice.
Fuck off.
Two different sizes. I'm going to smoke one of those for your show.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, because I'm going to go grab something else to smoke for your guys' show.
I'm going to grab a Moontrance for their show.
I will stick to my mint vape.
So, but yeah, we like the cigar and wanted to thank Melissa and Nicole again for coming on and agreeing to try a cigar. And I was really excited because getting non-cigar smokers and certainly getting guests on of a different gender is awesome because we've only ever dealt with
fest over here.
Yeah, we've only ever dealt with the voice of the matriarchy from the Barbie movie in terms of opposing genders.
Okay.
Yes, who also smoked a cigar, by the way, gentlemen. But that's neither here nor there.
It's neither here nor there. So thank you very much for coming on the show. And
thank
another
you for having us.
Yeah. Go check out.
For having us.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for having me. No. Go check out Midwest Shenanigans. Give them a subscribe, a like, share them with your friends. If you're not into the squawking birds or whatever, however they're billing themselves these days.
If you don't like dying pigeons, I'm sorry.
You probably do know somebody who likes it, so give it a share. And again, thanks again to Keith and to Charlie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did find the episodes that I listened to entertaining, and be safe, have fun.
Thanks for listening.